Riding. The train slowed with a long, shrill whistle as it approached the small Wyoming town. Anna Petrova sat by the window, clutching the worn leather suitcase that contained nearly everything she owned. Her heart pounded with excitement and fear. Outside, endless fields stretched beneath a golden sky. It was nothing like the crowded villages she had known growing up. Everything felt larger here, the land, the silence, the possibilities. For months she had dreamed about this moment. She had exchanged letters with a rancher named Robert Dawson for nearly a year. At first, the letters had been formal and cautious. Over time, they became warmer. Robert spoke of his ranch, the horses he raised, and the loneliness that settled over the plains at night. Anna had written about her family, her struggles, and her hope for a better future. When Robert finally proposed through a letter, promising a home and a life together, she had accepted. Now she was here. The train came to a stop. Passengers gathered their belongings and stepped onto the platform. Anna took a deep breath and followed them. The station was small but busy. People moved in every direction. She searched the crowd until she spotted a man standing near a wooden post. It was Robert. She recognized him from the photograph he had sent. A smile spread across her face. She waved. Robert saw her and began walking forward. But the closer he came, the more confused she became. He wasn't smiling. His expression looked disappointed. When he finally stopped in front of her, his eyes swept over her face, her plain dress, and the suitcase at her feet. "You're Anna." "Yes," she replied softly. His jaw tightened. For several seconds he said nothing. Then he exhaled heavily. "This isn't going to work." Anna blinked. "What? You don't look like your picture." The words struck her like a slap. The picture was several years old. Robert rubbed the back of his neck. "I expected someone different." Anna felt her stomach drop. "I traveled across an ocean." "I know. I left my family." "I know. Then why are you saying this?" Robert looked away. "Because I don't think I can do this." The crowd nearby had grown quiet. People were watching. Anna could feel their eyes. Humiliation burned through her. "You asked me to come," she whispered. "I made a mistake." Those 4 words shattered everything. Months of hope, months of sacrifice, months of dreaming, gone in an instant. Without another word, Robert turned around and walked away. Anna stood frozen. She couldn't breathe, couldn't think, couldn't understand how her life had changed so completely in less than a minute. As the sun began to sink behind the hills, the station slowly emptied. People left, shops closed, the sounds faded. Eventually Anna found herself sitting alone on a wooden bench. She had nowhere to go. No family, no friends, very little money. Tears filled her eyes. She lowered her head and cried quietly. An hour passed, then another. The sky darkened. Cold wind swept through the empty station. That was when she heard footsteps. She looked up. A tall cowboy stood nearby. His hat was weathered. His coat showed signs of years of hard work. But his eyes held a kindness she hadn't seen all day. "Are you the woman Robert left behind?" Anna wiped her tears. "Yes." The cowboy frowned. "I heard what happened." She looked away. "I'm sorry you had to see that." "I'm sorry it happened." His voice carried genuine concern. Not curiosity, not pity, concern. "My name's Caleb Walker." "Anna." He nodded. "Do you have somewhere to stay tonight?" She shook her head. "No." "Family nearby?" "No." "Friends?" "No." Caleb stared toward the darkening sky. Then he made a decision. "Come with me." Anna hesitated. "What? You can stay at my ranch." She looked startled. "You don't even know me." "I know you're alone, but why help?" Caleb shrugged. "Because it's the right thing to do." Something about him felt trustworthy. Perhaps it was his calm voice. Perhaps it was the way he looked at her. Unlike Robert, Caleb didn't seem to be measuring her worth. He simply saw another human being in trouble. Finally she nodded. "Thank you." The ranch sat several miles outside town. The journey was quiet. Moonlight illuminated the rolling hills. When they arrived, Anna was surprised by how peaceful everything felt. The ranch wasn't wealthy. The house wasn't large. But it felt warm, comfortable, like a place where kindness lived. Caleb carried her suitcase inside. "You can take the guest room." Anna looked around. Everything was neat and orderly. "You live alone?" "Have for years." "Isn't it lonely?" He smiled slightly. "Sometimes." That night Anna slept more soundly than she expected. The next morning she woke early and found Caleb already outside feeding horses. She joined him. "You don't have to work," he said. "I want to help." And help she did. Days passed. Then weeks. Anna cooked meals, washed clothes, helped repair fences, tended animals. She worked harder than anyone expected. Caleb noticed. So did the neighboring ranchers. One afternoon a rancher named Frank stopped by. He watched Anna hauling supplies across the yard. She works harder than most men. Caleb smiled. That's true. Why's she still here? She needed a place to stay. Frank raised an eyebrow. That's all. Caleb didn't answer, because the truth was becoming more complicated. The longer Anna stayed, the harder it became to imagine the ranch without her. Her laughter filled the house. Her presence brightened every room. The loneliness Caleb had carried for years slowly began disappearing. Anna felt it too. She found herself looking forward to every conversation, every meal together, every sunset they watched from the porch. One evening they sat outside while the sky turned shades of orange and pink. The horses grazed quietly nearby. Do you miss home? Caleb asked. Sometimes. Would you go back if you could? Anna thought carefully. A few months ago I would have said yes. And now? She smiled softly. Now I'm not sure. Caleb felt his heart beat faster. Neither spoke for a while. The silence wasn't uncomfortable. It felt peaceful, like two people who understood each other without words. As autumn arrived, the town slowly began accepting Anna. Most people respected Caleb, and if Caleb trusted her, many felt they should too. But not everyone. Some continued whispering, some judged her, others assumed she was using Caleb for security. One afternoon Anna entered the general store. Two women stood nearby discussing her. Neither bothered lowering their voices. She's only staying because she needs someone to support her. Poor Caleb doesn't realize it. Anna pretended not to hear. But the words hurt, more than she wanted to admit. She returned to the ranch feeling defeated. Caleb immediately noticed. What happened? Nothing. Anna. His voice was gentle. She finally told him. As she spoke, his expression darkened. When she finished, Caleb stood. Where are you going? She asked. To town. Why? Because I'm tired of people talking about you like that. Within an hour Caleb stood in front of the general store. Several townspeople gathered nearby. Word spread quickly. Everyone knew Caleb Walker rarely got angry, which made the sight even more surprising. He looked around at the crowd. If anyone has something to say about Anna, he announced, say it in front of me. Silence. Nobody spoke. Caleb continued. She works harder than anyone I've ever met. The crowd remained quiet. She is honest. No response. She is kind. Several people lowered their eyes. And she deserves respect. The silence said everything, because deep down everyone knew he was right. After that day, the gossip diminished. People began seeing Anna differently. Not as the rejected mail-order bride. Not as an outsider, but as a member of the community. Winter arrived early that year. Snow covered the fields. Ice formed along fences. The ranch transformed into a white landscape of breathtaking beauty. One evening a powerful storm swept across the plains. Wind rattled the windows. Snow piled against the walls. Inside, a fire crackled in the fireplace. Anna sat wrapped in a blanket while Caleb added wood to the flames. The room glowed with warmth. Outside the storm roared. Inside everything felt safe. Can I ask you something? Anna said. Of course. Why did you help me? Caleb looked into the fire. Because I couldn't leave you there. Most people would have. Maybe. You didn't even know me. He smiled faintly. I knew enough. Anna studied him. What does that mean? Caleb turned toward her. It means I saw someone hurting. The sincerity in his voice touched her deeply. You changed my life, she whispered. Caleb shook his head. No. Yes. You changed mine too. Their eyes met. Neither looked away. For months feelings had grown quietly between them. Now those feelings filled the room. Impossible to ignore. Caleb stood and walked closer. Anna's heart pounded. The storm outside seemed distant. Everything else disappeared. There was only this moment. Only the two of them. Anna, Caleb said softly. Yes. When I first saw you at that station, everyone else saw a problem. She listened carefully. They saw a stranger. His voice grew quieter. A burden. Tears formed in her eyes. But I saw someone brave enough to leave everything behind for a chance at happiness. A tear slipped down her cheek. I saw someone strong. Caleb stepped closer. I saw someone worth knowing. The room felt smaller, warmer, more intimate, and somewhere along the way, he continued, I fell in love with you. Anna covered her mouth. The words hit her with overwhelming force. Not because they were unexpected, but because she had been feeling the same thing. For months. I love you too, she whispered. Caleb smiled, a genuine smile that reached his eyes. Then he took her hands. Stay. One word. Simple. Powerful. Everything she had longed to hear. Stay. Not because she had nowhere else to go. Not because he felt sorry for her. Not because he owed her anything. Stay because he loved her. Anna nodded through tears. Yes. Caleb pulled her into his arms. Outside the storm raged across Wyoming. Inside they held each other beside the fire. For the first time since arriving in America, Anna felt completely at home. News of their engagement spread quickly. Most people celebrated. The town that had once doubted her now supported her. Months later spring arrived. Wildflowers covered the fields. The snow melted. The world seemed new again. The wedding day dawned bright and beautiful. People traveled from miles away to attend. The church overflowed with guests. Anna stood at the entrance wearing a simple white dress. She felt nervous, excited, happy. When the music began, she started walking down the aisle. Every face turned toward her. Then she saw Caleb, waiting at the altar, smiling, looking at her as though she were the most important person in the world. Halfway down the aisle she noticed another face. Robert Dawson. He sat quietly in the back row. Regret was written across his features. Word of the wedding had reached him. Curiosity had brought him there. Now he watched the woman he had rejected marry one of the most respected men in Wyoming. Years earlier that sight might have filled Anna with anger. Now she felt nothing, because Robert no longer mattered. His rejection had seemed like the end of her story. Instead it had become the beginning. She reached the altar. Caleb took her hands. His eyes never left hers. The ceremony began. The minister spoke about love, faith, and commitment. But Anna barely heard the words. She was too focused on the man standing before her. The man who had seen value where others saw disappointment. The man who had defended her when people judged her. The man who had given her a home when she had nowhere to go. When the minister finally declared them husband and wife, cheers filled the church. Caleb kissed her. The crowd erupted into applause. Anna laughed through happy tears. As they walked back down the aisle together, sunlight streamed through the windows. For a brief moment she remembered the frightened woman sitting alone at the train station months earlier. That woman had believed her life was over. She had believed she had lost everything. What she couldn't see then was that sometimes the worst heartbreak leads to the greatest blessing. Sometimes a closed door guides you toward the right one. Sometimes rejection protects you from the wrong future. And sometimes, when the entire world seems ready to turn away, one person looks into your eyes and sees exactly who you are. One person chooses kindness. One person chooses love. One person reaches out a hand and changes everything. For Anna, that person was Caleb Walker. And because of him, the journey that began with rejection ended with a home, a family, and a love stronger than she had ever imagined possible. As the church bells rang across the valley and the townspeople gathered outside to celebrate, Anna squeezed Caleb's hand. He squeezed hers back. Neither needed to speak, because they both knew the truth. The greatest moment of their lives had started with a single word. Stay.